Welcome to the couch-ish.
Yes.
It's no longer a couch.
Yeah, it's a stool.
We have stools and a table for more high-functioning podcasting stuff.
And that couch was horrible.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I need a chiropractor after the couch.
That was a backbreaker. Okay, so...
Weird news. All right. So my weird news, I really like to stick with weird news. Shit you don't hear every day. The average news is not for me. I think everyone sees that, hears that, smells that, touches that. Back to smelling. Man arrested for stealing 70 pairs of shoes he sniffed for sexual pleasure. Okay. And he's non-discriminatory. Some are men, some are women. Yeah.
So did he have like a
70?
I'm picturing like a dungeon, like on those movies, except with chains and stuff hanging. He's got shoes up on the walls.
Yeah.
And he goes
40 Shades of Nike. So, middle-aged man has been arrested for stealing over 70 pairs of shoes.
Where did he steal them from?
Everywhere, apparently. 70. Man's busy. And he actually just comes right out and says, I enjoy sniffing the smell of well-worn shoes for sexual pleasure. He's not afraid.
What if that's not true? What if he's a serial killer and keeps the shoes of the victims, but he almost got caught?
Listen, that's smart.
Blame it on sexual stuff.
Yes, now they're no longer looking for the people that belong inside those shoes.
I still pinky fingers.
Yes.
Ed Gein. I make belts out of nipples. Do you know who Ed Gein is?
Yes, the butcher.
No, well...
They called him the butcher.
He only killed 2 people.
Where did he get all the nipples?
He dug them up.
What?
He was a grave robber for the most part.
Okay, I don't know enough about Ed Gein to speak, obviously, educationally about him.
Interesting individual.
I do know that he was only like 5'4" tall. He was not like this giant of a man. Because I once actually was like, no, Ed Gein was a really big guy. And then come to find out I was actually speaking about Kemper.
Yeah, Ed Kemper's a whole different animal.
Yeah, animal. Anyway...
So, 70 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, and we're not talking over a long period of time. June 2017 to August 2018. What's that average?
That's some effort. I want to know where he stole them.
I mean, that's more than one a month.
Did he, break into people's houses?
Well, then I wonder if he's, sniffs them and then's like, yeah, that's a good vintage. Or if he just sees them and he...
walks by on the street, he catches a pole of their feet.
Follows them home.
They go to bed.
Wake up. Where the hell are my shoes?
He's playing secret agent man in his head as he breaks in.
Good.
Steals their shoes out of the mudroom.
70 pairs. He's busy. Not only is he super sexually active, but...
Where do you keep 70 pairs of shoes?
Well, that's, I think, how he got caught, is they caught him with 70 pairs of various sizes of shoes.
He close the door to his house anymore.
Yeah, because we are talking, their living spaces are much smaller than ours.
And where was this at?
Okay, so this guy hails from Tokyo.
Oh, in Japan, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, man, it's normal. It's from Japan.
Yeah.
Those guys brought us that squid porn stuff. So, yeah.
God bless him. It's unclear how he stole all of his shoes.
They don't. Wait a second, Japan.
Yeah.
They take their shoes off outside.
Oh, easy peasy.
He's just nabbing them off the street.
Lemon squeezy, walking by, sniff a pair, it's yours. There for the taking.
How terrible would that be? You go over for a dinner party at your friend's house. It's, winter. And you come out from the dinner party, no shoes.
No shoes.
And then some guy is...
doing naughty things with your shoes.
Taking a big old pull out of them.
That's disgusting.
Ugh.
Not only that, but it's shoes, people.
Do you think he's on there on the...
There are shoes I don't even want in my house.
Any teenage boys. Do you think he's online on that powder you put in your shoes, leaving bad ratings on...
Yeah, stop changing the smell.
Amazon.
This powder works super effective. It's garbage.
This stuff's horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, they got his name out there, too. So I guess if he does turn out...
Can you pronounce it?
Makoto Endo. He's 40.
Did much better than I did on the name of the place last week.
Yeah. So I guess if we do start realizing that some of these shoes had people's feet in them that are no longer walking the earth, they can always trace it back to Makoto. Makoto, you are a sick feller.
Oh, all right. My story comes out of Florida.
Yay, Florida!
All right. So let's say you're a 14-year-old girl.
All right. I was once.
Yes, you were. And you want to visit your boyfriend who lives well, I don't know how far away, but a significant distance away.
Okay.
How do you do it?
Ooh, then or now? Now I just call Uber.
Yeah, you just call it.
I just call Uber, hop in, they take me wherever they take me.
What if it's a 14-year-old girl you don't have any money?
Okay, so, now I still call Uber and I just don't pay him, I split. But then, back then when I was a 14-year-old girl...
you have to register.
Oh.
You can only do that once.
That could be problematic. It's a one-way ride.
So we're going to call this girl, I'm going to guess her name. And if I'm right, imagine that. We're going to call her Ariana. Huh. Young Ariana, 14.
That's a strange name to just pull out of the air somewhere.
Starts with an A. I was thinking Ariana Grande. Still haven't heard any of her songs, but I'm sure they're good. Well, I probably have. I just don't recognize them.
Yeah, okay.
So Ariana is facing grand theft charges after she allegedly stole a pizza delivery car.
Oh.
Now,
she must have really been into this guy.
So police in Lee County said her name's Josie. Oh, Josie's better than... Okay, sorry. We'll have to cut that out or something.
No, just leave it.
So Josie ordered 2 pizzas and had them sent to her neighbor's house.
Hopped in.
When the driver went to the door to deliver the pizzas, Josie allegedly popped out of some nearby bushes and jumped into his 2006 Ford Taurus.
Wheels spinning because that model is Superfly.
So,
did she have the cone on top? The Domino's?
The Mohawk?
Oh.
So Christopher Cook, the driver of the car, told deputies he was walking to the front door when he saw a person come out of the woods, get into his car, and drive away.
Josie is above average intelligence for a 14-year-old. Because, one, she didn't call the pizza to her house.
I'm telling you, Josie is, I would elect her senator in 20 years. So Josie first drove to Lehigh, I think that's how you pronounce it, Acres Middle School. But when a policeman approached the car, she drove off quickly. Her wild ride was tracked by a police helicopter.
Stop it. Oh, Josie, you were in a crap ton of trouble. Yeah. Police helicopter?
Yeah, the helicopter came. She was
They put that much attention on a stolen police pizza delivery guy's car?
Well, it is Florida. You never know what else is underlying that.
True.
And she was apprehended in the woods 6 miles from her house.
6 miles.
So
Josie, you could have walked farther than that.
She's charged with grand theft of an automobile, and she was taken to a juvenile assessment center. She was later released.
That's because they tested her IQ, and she tested way higher than any other 14-year-old. First of all, my 14-year-old self would have called the pizza delivery guy to my house. Then I would have chickened out, or probably just begged him to give me a ride somewhere.
I'm telling you, well, I used to just, I'm not going to say what I used to. Anyhow.
Cut. Stop talking.
But she stole it so she could visit her boyfriend. She just wanted to see her boyfriend. That's...
Josie for senator, year 2040.
So the father apparently had seen texts on her phone between her and her boyfriend about robbing people and all that.
What?
And he handed that over to the police after that incident. But I think the father should have intervened a little bit earlier. He might have saved a little bit of trouble. But Josie, pretty ingenious use of Papa John's and.
Yeah, we're not condoning this level of behavior, but I have to say that is above average for a 14-year-old.
Oh, yeah. We obtained cars when I was 14 as well. Never would have. Well, there was no pizza delivery.
Yeah, we didn't really have pizza delivery.
Yeah, so maybe we'd have thought of it, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Josie, good job.
Good job, Josie. Bad job. You're terrible.
All right, so today we want to talk alien abductions. Have you
Just get the big sigh out right now, because let me tell you. First of all, what's your theory? Do you believe it? What do you think is causing this phenomenon? Because this is not just a couple of people, a handful of people. This is millions of people all across the globe having these experiences. Some I watched and listened to and read their garbage, and they're just clearly mentally having a stroke or something, while others really made me question my current paradigm. So, theory, let's hear yours. On the spot,
Well,
on the record.
Do I believe in alien abductions?
Yes.
I don't know.
Jared.
I mean,
Is it happening or not?
if I had to lay money on it, no, I wouldn't think so. Because it almost always comes out under hypnotic regressive memory therapy, which is, first of all, it's too many words.
Yes. Hard to
and
say.
None of them are Latin.
Oh.
Doctors use
They
Latin.
have absolutely no credence unless they're Latin. What would it be in Latin, I wonder?
I don't know what hypnotic means, but,
Anyway.
alien would be, barbaric, something or another. But anyways, I enjoy the stories. Now, the reason I can't believe it is there's no significant evidence for it. But I did poke around and read a few stories. The Linda Cortil Napolitano story is interesting because she claims it includes other people in it. But then again, do those other people ever come about? But let me give a real quick synopsis to the story. Now, of course, this comes from Hopkins, who is ridiculed quite often for his methods. But Napolitano claimed that she was abducted by the Greys, who floated her, and she was in Manhattan, New York. They floated her from her closed bedroom window. So they phased her through the window into a hovering UFO. So the UFO is hovering outside of her building. The beam comes in, sucked her out. Through the window, doesn't break the window. The craft was waiting for her above her Manhattan apartment building at 3 a.m., November 30th, 1989.
Okay. I have so many questions already. How old is she at this time? I think it's a common thing to find with these abductions that they start pretty young. So they're super vulnerable, these people who have these experiences.
That's a good question. How old is she at this time? I think she was an adult, if I remember. I watched a few videos on it, but, so she claims that they sucked her out. Now, the high-level security clearance, professional required for 2 bodyguards. So these are 2 bodyguards that witnessed it or something. They were UN bodyguards.
Why did she have UN bodyguards?
Now, they weren't on her.
She just happened to be in a place where 2 UN bodyguards were guarding someone else or something else?
Yeah, they were guarding someone else. And
these aliens are retarded. Why did they pick that place?
So the bodyguards say they see her just floating there up above, and it's a confusing story. They see her floating there, and then she goes into her story how she sees the bottom of the UFO open up like a clam, and then it sucks her inside. And she was 41. There we go. So these bodyguards see her go up into the UFO, then they see her be brought back, and then they detain her and question her.
Okay, so these bodyguards have testified to this or have attributed to this story in some way?
Again, we're going back to Hopkins.
Okay. Damn it. This is the problem. I want to believe.
Okay, the bodyguards were CIA agents. So Hopkins is kind of saying that he talked to them, but he doesn't declare their names or anything. He's just saying in 91, they kidnapped Linda, these 2 CIA agents, bundled her into the CIA car in broad daylight, and quizzed her for 3 hours.
I call bullshit.
Well,
bullshit. Because
if
he had actually questioned the CIA agents, he would have he would make them put it into record.
Well, Richard, one of the agents.
Dick. Listen here, Dick.
There was an oval-shaped object hovering over the top of the apartment building 2 or 3 blocks up from where we sat. We didn't know where it came from. It happened too fast. Its lights turned from a bright reddish orange to a whitish blue coming out of the bottom. So I guess the lights were red-orange on the sides, on the disc sides, and then on the bottom they were blue. And green lights rotated around the edge of it. A little girl or woman wearing a white gown sailed out of the window in a fetal position and then stood in midair in the beam of light. I could see 3 of the ugliest creatures I ever saw. So apparently the aliens were floating with her. I don't know what they were. They weren't human. Their heads were out of proportion, very large heads with no hair. These buggers were escorting her into the craft. My partner screamed, "We have got to get them." We tried to get out of the car but couldn't. Why were CIA agents just driving around Manhattan? Is that common, or don't you think they have a job to do? After the woman was escorted...
And I think if you see something like that, you don't say, "We've got to get them."
Well, also that the CIA's foreign. They shouldn't be over here messing around. That's the FBI's job.
Yeah.
After the woman was escorted in, the oval turned red-orange and flew away. So, that's what they're saying they saw before the incident. All right. Hopkins told them that Linda Cortell was the woman they had seen. Hopkins' investigation would gain additional momentum when more witnesses to the event would come forward. But he doesn't lay any names down to the witnesses. He just says all these people, this one, "I saw it, and I saw it, and I saw it." And, of course, Richard, you only get Richard's first name,
He's undercover.
Maybe. Well, if he's in the United States, he best be, because CIA's foreign.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be on foreign projects. But anyway, so I thought that was an interesting story because she was an adult, and it was witnessed by official people that unofficially gave a statement. Do I believe it?
It doesn't hold water for me. I have read a couple that I think do hold water. There's one in particular that the book Intruders is based on, where she gives her...
What's Intruders?
It's a book about aliens coming and visiting.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's kind of secondary to the Third Kind movie. What is it?
Encounters of the Fourth Kind?
Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
Is it Fourth Kind?
Third Kind, Fourth
Third Kind.
Yeah. Anyway, there's
a movie called Fourth Kind, and it's Encounters of the Third Kind. Have you seen Fourth Kind?
No. Is it good?
Scary.
Oh.
Freaky scary.
Great. No, so... But
it talks about hypnotic...
regressive therapy.
Yeah, and it kind of... it's made to be like it's some found footage, some based on a true story, but in a way not. So it's interesting.
So this book, Intruders, is based on a real-life story that happened to a family. So again, more than one person. They're all named inside the book. They actually did an expose interview with the main character of the book, and she explains her experience as completely... She had no idea what happened. There was a light on in the garage. Mm-hmm. She went to investigate this light because her mother and her children were in the house. So again, she's an adult at this time. Upon entering the garage, she feels this kind of stinging throughout her body, like pulsing energy.
You hear a lot of vibration in the body stories.
Yeah, which is it's totally common occurrence. But then she also...
Do those vibrations happen naturally for other reasons?
Well, and that's... people can attribute it to a lot of things, but she said that the events of the night first led her to think that she had a full-on stroke, because first she had this sensation that was body-wide. Then she saw this extreme bright light, and she heard someone say, "That was unfortunate. We didn't mean to do that."
Oh.
So
that's the aliens like talking to her?
Yes. Yes. And so she goes on to give this account, and she's pretty credible in the sense that she doesn't really make it any more special than it is. She was like, honestly, it felt really weird. Like,
did she see him, or did she just see the light?
She just saw the light.
And was it through regressive hypnotic therapy?
No, she's never done hypnotic therapy.
Okay, so this is more credible.
Well, yeah, a little more credible, but she starts out by saying, listen, I honestly just thought I had a stroke. Within 1 year of this happening to her, she developed cataracts. I mean, she's in her 30s. She developed cataracts, and having gone to the hospital, the very first question was, have you been looking at an arc weld or the light coming from an arc weld? Because
yeah.
you have severe
Flash burn.
you have severe flash burn or some kind of burning that's happened in your corneas. And she was like, of course not. I'm a mother and, I'm a seamstress. I haven't looked at any of that stuff. In addition to that, there's pictures inside the book. I'm going to order the book today. But there's pictures inside the book of there was a mark that they found that developed over the course of.
Like on her body?
On her grass.
Oh.
She says, I didn't see anything there, but there was a mark that had developed on the grass in the shape of what you commonly see now as crop circles.
A lot of people say that those crop circles can't be done by people.
Okay, I have a theory about crop circles. We're going to get into an entire show.
Well, we do know that
Two guys came forward of, let me tell you, below average intelligence and claim to have done all the crop circles. But we're talking thousands of crop circles in 14 countries showed up over the course of 2 years. These two fools did not do all of these.
You know that Shia LaBeouf?
No.
Shia LaBeouf?
LaBeouf?
The actor guy.
Oh, yeah.
You remember how the internet guys found his flag that he put out in the middle of nowhere?
Okay.
That was, internet came together for that. Could they have done that with crop circles?
So we need to do an entire show on crop circles because there's new scientific evidence as they have collected actual evidence from these crop circles that show that the makeup of the stalks is different in the circle than is
like
in the
DNA
same
makeup?
The way that they are formed, the way that their nodes are stretched, it's completely different in these crop circles than it is in the same field with the same seeds just beyond the crop circle. So crop circles coming to a podcast near you. It's really weird. I think the problem I have with all of these is everything is a sum of its parts. And I think if you take these alien sightings and the things that are happening to these people and on its own morals, it's nuts. But if you take that with implantation, which we need to do a show on that, and you put those together, it becomes a little more credible. You take the crop circles and you kind of stack that into the nice little puddle. It becomes even more credible.
Well, who did the study that found out?
So there was several of them done, but the latest one was done by it's a group of people that study the genomes of crops. They have they published an entire study on these crop circles, and the thing is, crop circles aren't happening now.
Yeah, they've
kind of waned, but they did collect evidence from several hundred crop circles that they weren't able to do proper testing on when it was collected, but as new ways of testing is coming out, the results are varying.
But they kind of let it go. Maybe I have a hard time. I remember when those guys came out and said it, but even when I first saw them, they're like, "Oh, this could only be done by aliens." I'm like, "Give me a rope and a stick. I'll knock those bad boys right out."
Some of them. But have you seen some of the intricate details on some of these crop circles?
Any of them. It's just coming up with the pattern.
And not coming, okay, I could draw that pattern. I couldn't march it in the snow in your front yard.
Well, I need 2 sticks.
Yeah, and an aerial photo.
Probably 2 ropes. Well, no, you just designate a distance from your peg stick to your stomping stick with a rope. And then you walk a circle around.
And you stomp in a circle.
And then you can do, oh yeah, that'd be super easy to do. Super easy to do.
So yeah, I think the thing about crop circles that makes me the most question them, not in addition to this new evidence, which, we'll dig into, but the widespread way that it was happening over the same course of time. It lends it a little bit of credence. Because it wasn't secular to Arkansas where these 2 toothless guys claimed fame to it. not at all secular to wherever that happened.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Now, there are theories that crop circles have nothing to do with alien life form and more so to do with the, gravitational pull and the magnetic things that are happening within our Earth and the way that, weather patterns affect that and all kinds of things.
Yeah, but could they what weather patterns make crop? Or I still think it was people. I do, even, I don't know. It just seems like...
So one of the people that found the difference is the physicist Elto Hasselhoff and the late biophysicist William Lavengood. They found differences between the crops inside the circles and outside of them, citing that this evidence was not man-made. And we're not talking a ufologist or a cryptologist or people that find strange things. This is a physicist and a biophysicist who were given the crops.
Those that I give credence to, unless they're just trying to,
right. And we never know the agenda of other people, specifically in fields where you give them levels of trust, like doctors and physicists and astronauts. Another show. But, yes.
Have you ever heard of Meng Zhaoguo?
No, it sounds delicious.
Meng is a Chinese man.
Okay. Was he abducted? We got to get back on track. We got to get back on track.
Okay, so Meng, he had a close encounter of the third time.
Third kind?
Yes.
Same.
In the Red Flag Forest in
Here we go.
Heilongjiang.
That is the appetizer to Mengjong Hulong.
Heilongjiang. Those people hate their tongues.
Can I buy a vowel? I'd like to buy a vowel, please.
And put it somewhere in there. Okay, so Meng claimed to be suffering from ongoing harassment from entities and reported being taken into their spacecraft and forced to copulate.
Yes, that's common. With women, they're taken and their eggs are extracted. With men, they're taken and forced against their wills to provide DNA.
Yeah, but that's a tough forcing.
Yes.
Do it now! Do it again! It's tough. He was on, I think it's in 1994, July 17th. He was abducted from his house and shown Mars.
He was shown Mars?
The entities claim that was their homeworld.
Mars. We're on Mars now. Copulating, probably.
He did in as much as you could in China in 1994. He monetized this. And, he was a lumberjack, and he monetized this and kind of made a living from it. I don't know how that would be done in communist China.
I don't know how that would be done anyway. How do you monetize this experience and make a living from it?
Just tell a story.
Oh, so he just told his story, sold his story.
But I don't know if you can in China. China was communism in 94.
Well, you can't legally, but...
So I don't know how he did it. But apparently he told the story. His wife ended up leaving him. He claimed he
was sharing his seed. She could not handle it.
Well, his wife at first was okay with it because it wasn't human. Oh. And then later on became unokay with it. Now, I do know...
Do you think he developed some strange obsession?
That's the question.
He made her wear an alien suit.
Well, okay. Now, I do know under Mao China, sexuality was extremely repressed.
Okay.
And I don't know if in 94 it had been loosened or not. But, so you couldn't...
express yourself.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting study in itself. Not that I want to do that study. I'm sure someone else has.
Any podcaster out there willing to take that on so we can listen?
To take on sexual repression in communist China? I don't want to study.
It's probably already out there. We'll find it later tonight. Jared will fall asleep while listening to it. Have strange dreams.
No, I've listened to too many demon stories falling asleep. But anyway, so then his wife left him years later, but she was okay with it. He talked about being taken up in other times and seeing his offspring, his half-alien offspring. You hear those stories too?
Yes.
Like black-eyed children. Those are really kind of cool stories. In some places, they're scary, and some they're not. And then you've got
Spiders, clowns, black-eyed children. I
Indigo?
don't answer the door for any of
Are they
those.
called indigo children?
I don't know.
I think indigo children, maybe sapphire. I don't know, some gem children, where you
Topaz kids.
Topaz kids, Topaz coral. But that's where they're that's the crossbred kids.
So we've heard this a lot. Is that their reason for coming? If you ask a lot of ufologists or people who do research into alien abduction, is for a correction in their DNA by splicing in ours.
Yes, breeding or to save us, or
they don't care about us.
to
If they cared
save
about us,
themselves.
yeah.
Or the Anunnaki story, they came here to get gold to put in their atmosphere because Nibiru was atmosphere had been burned off.
I have no idea what you're
You
speaking
don't
of.
know what the Anunnaki is?
No.
Oh, Betsy.
Why would I know what the Anunnaki is? These weird.
They made us, Betsy.
Oh.
And
I know not of my
Inky and
genealogy.
Enlil made us.
Oh, you know too much.
Well,
You watch too much YouTube.
I believe all of this.
I want to believe this. I don't know if I want to believe that Anunnaki and Enlil and Joby and whatever, but I want to believe that that we know so little about the universe in which our little planet exists in, that the possibility of other species reaching out to communicate with us is plausible solely because we occupy this tiny little dust-sized speck within the universe.
What if?
So how could we possibly know all there is to know?
What if, like, universal wide, we're like the ghetto, like all the other areas, like, don't go there, they're weird.
Right? And they're troublemakers. They stink. They like other people's stinky shoes.
Feet.
Yeah. Or what if there are layers to our current universe that we can't see beyond? Kind of like the terrarium that my kids had that had the ants in it.
Yeah, or dimensionally.
Yes.
What if alien encounters are from
Just-
the fourth dimension?
Yes. And they walk amongst us and through us, and we don't notice them unless we're some of the chosen ones who get probed.
That would be walking through you.
Okay, so that would include the walking through us. But I want very much to believe that, okay, first of all, it's the spice of life.
Well,
The idea that we don't know all there is to know and to continue searching and looking and all of that, I love that. What I can't stand is when people claim they already know it all. Like they've named these species, they've given them planets. What if the Greys don't want to live in reticuli? And now you've pissed them off, and the probing's going to get much worse because they actually live on the star of Nebuloni, which I'm going to name my star Nebuloni. And
it sounds like a pizza or a sandwich.
That's what I'm saying. What if Nebuloni is their star?
You know what my hardest thing with this is that they're all bipedal. They're all upright. They all have two eyes.
They resemble us.
Nostrils. They're all us. So the only way that could be, there's only a couple ways that could be. One, dumb luck. Two,
It's our imagination.
we all kind of come from the same place. Three, they made us. And we've all been made, so all come from the same place. Or four, it's in the minds of the people who experience. The honest ones who experience. Because I'm sure there's a lot of stories out there that are dishonest about that.
Just bupkis. They just made it up.
Yeah, like,
Want the attention.
what if the Hills just robbed a Brent bank?
Yeah.
And then they wanted to have a story as to where they were, and they couldn't make one up, so they said that, not that I'm saying the Hills did it, I don't want them to haunt me.
Yeah.
But, that's what I'm saying. So I don't,
The old bait and switch.
I don't see.
You were doing something really naughty like Josie, but instead that day you had been abducted by aliens and you have no recollection
I
of that
can't believe
night.
I missed her name the first time I read through that, Josie. Why did I come up with that, Ariel? Anyways, so why would they all, or is bipedal, two-arm, multiple finger, opposing thumb, is that the ultimate shape? Is that the best
Evolution.
physicality for supporting a large brain and dexterity.
Perhaps.
You know,
maybe just by way of evolution, they have, like us, evolved to have giant bulbous heads.
Is that the only ones we'd be able to meet because that's the only way they could have the ability to modernize and build?
This brings up so many questions.
There's a lot
because
of questions.
what if, say, dogs are being abducted by dog aliens? What?
Watch your hula hoo shiver all the time.
What if when I let Gidget out and she disappears?
Gidget is a Yorkie.
In the neighborhood.
She weighs in at about, 7-8 ounces.
Yeah.
She's hyper. She runs around. Sweet little dog.
But sometimes she disappears for long periods of time in the neighborhood. We drive around, we can't find her, and then she's on the porch when we get home. What if...
She's probably just laying on the porch the whole time. She's small enough to get here.
What if she would have been abducted? What if aliens in their evolutions are all similar to ours, and, say, cats are being abducted by cat aliens?
Well, there are feline aliens.
That are abducting humans?
Yeah,
okay, that just blows my theory entirely out of the water, because that's...
But they look like us with a cat's face.
Okay, so that's an evolutionary problem. Maybe they're trying to correct that DNA.
I think it's people just...
like cats? Like
a cat lady gets...
abducted by a feline?
Has a mental break, and then says the felines did it.
Yes, which could be true.
There are no dog aliens because dogs are just happy and aimed to please. There are feline aliens, lizard aliens, snake aliens. The Greys, of course. Everyone's heard my theory. I think that calls for the psyche of a dead person.
In order for us to become ufologists, we need to publish new findings. I say dog aliens is our ticket.
Dog aliens?
There's no dog aliens. We need to find dog aliens from the planet Nebuloni.
We've had a big run with goldfish.
We've had a good run.
But of course, on Star Wars, there's goldfish aliens. That's what Admiral Akbar was.
What?
Oh, I'm speaking at it. Your husband needs to be here for that.
Yeah, that's way
the fish guy
way above my pay grade.
The fish guy that is in charge of the spaceships in Star Wars.
Okay. Fish guy, Star Wars. I'm following you. Not at all. At any rate, I think that the problem I have with abduction stories is two-part. If they're true, there's no way for us to measure that, touch it, feel it, scientifically prove it. And if they're not true, why is everyone having the same experience even though they don't live close to one another and may not have heard other people's stories?
The Greys are fairly easy to explain because of, I still honestly believe the Greys come about because of, dead people, And lots of cultures used to always, some cultures to this day, they dig them up every year and have a celebration around this dead person.
Yeah.
Celebration with them, And then, they look like they could be a skull or just a drying up dead person or, so that, I think that's where that harkens back to. And it might have been done so often by our ancestors that it's in our genetic psyche.
Just that image. The imagery that we...
The gray, or green. You never see them coming out as pink or...
purple.
Peach colored is, I think, what we used to use in the crayon box to present humans.
Yes. Right? No, that was not a good representation.
Caucasians.
Yeah.
But you never see them at that color. They're always gray or green, always the colors you see as a dead person.
And they're never attributed to having done great things. Like, none of these mofos show up and clean your bedroom.
Oh, wait, there was that one alien...
I want one to show up and do my laundry.
Next week, my story's going to be about I can't remember the incident exactly, but there was an alien flying saucer that came down and shot nuclear silos, which took them out. So I'd say that's a good thing. I don't know if they were stopping nuclear war or just seeing, hey, if we shoot that, what will it do? Will it split the Earth in half? I want to get to that sweet, sweet core.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing to shoot nuclear silos.
But they took them out of commission. The nuclear silos went out of commission because of that. Of course, it's one of those stories you watch on late night TV or YouTube. I'll look that up. I'll bring the official story of that next week.
Very interesting stuff, this alien abduction stuff.
But those are stories of the grays. Those are the two stories we had. The one I had about Ming Zhao Gao from Giga.
You're getting so much better at that.
I know, man. I can stumble over Chinese.
It sounds delicious.
But anyways, story we had about him goes in depth. His human was a Nordic.
See, now I've heard that.
A big white person, 10 feet tall, a woman.
The sexual encounters with men are with the beautiful Nordic aliens.
Shocking, right?
I can't believe it.
He was forced, my quotation fingers are going off, he was forced to copulate with her multiple times. And I imagine that as they put him back and had to kick him out of the flying saucer.
Go home!
I know. And
not
just that.
Get out of here!
He's a lumberjack, fun job, in communist China, starving. I mean,
poor guy.
Anything they've got going on there, he was probably all about it.
Yeah.
But, but
that really lays waste to the other theories that most women who are taken and their sperm or their eggs are taken, they're taken by way of a tube that's inserted into their stomachs.
Well, if it is in their psyche,
but it's done by grays, which are not beautiful people. What does that say?
If it is in their psyche, maybe. Well, women don't always follow beauty as much as men do. Women like vampires, Betsy.
That's true.
They're like vampires, 200-year-old guys. Now, he may look like he's 17.
No, he was hideous, and he glittered in the sun.
I know, he glittered. That's it. Yeah.
Anyway.
Vampires weren't gay enough. Anyhow.
You know what? He needs some glitter.
Yeah, I watched that movie with Amber in the theater, and that was not fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, but what I'd like to do over the next few months, and this isn't going to be back-to-back, but
we need to take a break from these stories because you really do have to do a dive in to find these people.
Yeah, you end up watching and reading a lot of stuff that is either it makes you feel bad for the person saying it because you can visibly see and read their mental break with reality, or it's people that's just piling dog shit on you. Mm-hmm. And they keep piling. So you got to take a break, and watch something a little lighter every once in a while,
Yeah. So we'll take a break from aliens and we'll come back.
We'll jump in and we want to talk about different types of aliens. There's an abundance of them, and we got future plans to lay out aliens, but we also want to talk about Bigfoot and
other things like
skinwalkers,
government conspiracies.
Yeah. Good stuff like that. But thanks for joining us.
Don't get abducted, people.
Or do, guys.
Okay, guys, get abducted. You'll enjoy it.
Ladies, not so much. Pleasant.
Yeah.
Though there have been some good ones from ladies, too, about Nordics.
What? Really?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Are these ladies that identify as men?
I don't know. Or you never know.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.
Bye.